I guess a fun fact, but something I have in common with my panelists is that I was also a community health worker. That was my first public health job back in the mid-90s in West Africa, in Burkina Faso, where I was a Peace Corps volunteer on the Massi Plateau, where we worked in French and in Moray, but essentially doing similar work to what we're doing now, which is working in the home, not in a clinical setting, but with medical partners here in New York City. So today I am going to focus on our asthma work, and I will emphasize things that might be different or from some of what you've heard today about community health workers, but there is a lot in common about the intervention you heard about from Dr. Krieger in King County as to what we're doing. So first, just a bit about a.i.r NYC. Our mission, here you have it, is to improve the quality of life of asthmatic children and adults, helping families break the revolving cycle of poverty that is worsened by chronic disease. a.i.r NYC was established in 2001. The original name, some of you who have been around for a while may remember, was the Harlem Children's Zone Asthma Initiative. It was co-founded by Jeffrey Canada of the Harlem Children's Zone and Harlem Hospital with partners at Columbia University, specifically the Biostats Department, originally funded exclusively by the Robin Hood Foundation, and until very, very recently, exclusively reliant on philanthropy. We've been trying to work toward more sustainability in recent history, and we're getting there, but it's an uphill battle. Here are our outcome measures, just to put in context the work that our community health workers do. After a year in our pediatrics program, caregivers report a 71% reduction in hospital admissions, a 68% reduction in emergency room visits, and a 57% reduction in school absenteeism. I also like to talk about the quality of life measures. You heard Dr. Krieger do the same. We think it's important to do that, especially when we're trying to engage families and our kind of end users, because you can throw data and statistics at people, but what really matters is their child able to sleep at night? Can they participate in sports? Can they go to school? So these are the kind of quality of life measures that we discuss widely in the community. And I won't read through them all because I'm scared of the timekeeper. I'm going to just keep rolling here. So you've also heard already a lot about the community health worker functions. Here in the asthma context, the main functions are really to provide asthma education, but what I have after the colon is really to inspire change. So the community health worker's job, there are specific tasks and functions, and everything is tracked and driven by data, but really it's about the human connection that the community health worker is able to form in the home setting, which is different from clinical, as you've heard and can imagine, and it's really about how do you motivate somebody to do something differently, to inspire positive change, I should say. So whether that's about smoking, changing the environment, or overcoming barriers or stigmas held around medication use and appropriate compliance, that's what the community health worker is really doing, Also, there is extensive environmental assessment conducted by community health workers who are trained to do that, where the goal is to develop a customized plan with that family to use whatever tools and resources are available, because there are a lot that are not available. We don't have funds for vacuum cleaners or air purifiers or expensive, heavy-to-ship stuff. We are barely affording our mattress covers, pillowcase covers, though those are important both as incentives to be able to say to somebody, we'll be back next time in a couple of weeks and we're going to have a mattress cover for you. I mean, something as small as that can really get somebody in the door to be able to kind of pave the way for the more important substantive work that we believe we're doing. And then also we work in partnership. So we can't do this alone. We work with the DOHMH very closely. Historically, we've been able to benefit from the IPM services provided directly by a contract that the DOHMH holds with the IPM vendor. There are problems with it. There isn't enough funding there, and we have families waiting for IPM services. Some of you in the room have heard me complain about this and other of our funding challenges. I mean, tomorrow we would like to hire teams of community health workers to meet the demand that is at our doorstep. I mean, we are turning away very vulnerable children and adults right now, only because of funding. We have a model, we have data, we're ready to scale, but it's difficult to even pay for these things that we know the evidence show shows work. So a big piece is also the follow-up and tracking to any of the components of this kind of multi-component intervention that the community health worker is leading in the home. Here's what I really want to just spend a few moments on. I did a quick kind of assessment of our community to give you a sense of the profile of our team. The countries of origin of our team right now, and we are 12 full-time staff. 7 of those are community health workers. They're from Mexico, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the Ivory Coast, Guinea, China, and the United States. Languages spoken are, of course, Spanish, French, Mandingo, Susu, English, Mandarin, and a few other languages related to Mandingo that I've left off. The degrees held range from no college degree, no high school, everyone has a high school, no college degree through MPHs. There's a real range on our team, and I can say more about that, though, when I have more than 1 minute. And the past job experience is also very varied. Migrant workers, researchers, airline representatives, Head Start staff, clinic staff, outreach workers, fitness instructors. Age range, very diverse, from the 20s, low 20s to mid 50s. And here in blue, I think I put those in blue because I just want to say that a big part of what I think makes a.i.r NYC so successful at what we're doing is the culture we're trying to create is positive, it is respectful of everybody. We have a lot of diversity just within the staff. There's a lot of diversity out there in New York City, and we work with humility, with kind of, I think the team is, with grace, with, all of the necessary things that are really required. So here are some of the things that a community health worker, kind of the talents in the portfolio that we look for in a community health worker. So, and they're seen as knowledgeable educators. We want them to be trusted advisors, helpful navigators, advocates, all of these things. This slide, you'll see that on the skills side, which are the kind, you can think of them as the harder skills. We would definitely look for these skills. You have to have good organizational skills. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to manage data and use technology the way we need people to. And everybody does that, regardless of where they've been. People know how to swipe and use iPads. Uh-oh, stop. But I wanted to just say, I can't. The qualities, though, notice nowhere on here is anything about asthma. I don't think that asthma knowledge is what we need when we're at the outset. What we look for are these skills and personalities and talents. The asthma can be learned, and we've seen that. We've seen people pass tests, take courses, get everything they need to deliver the messages. What we need here is sense of humor, resilience. We need team players. We need, again, the respectfulness that I've talked about. And the secret is really this stuff. It's meeting people where they live, literally and kind of metaphysically, meeting them wherever they are in their existence, and building the trust, forming the relationships, inspiring the change. Here are some of, again, the more formal training that we provide for staff. Motivational interviewing is huge. And then some of these others that you might not think of, like navigating the legal aid system, learning how, my team has had basic education in how to go with people to housing court and bring procedures to the housing part. Excuse me. And again, another culture slide. We really invest in the community health worker, so we care about what are they going to do next. This isn't a group that necessarily thinks about their goals or where they're going to be in 5 years, or the way some of us who are educated in the United States are taught to think from preschool. So we work with our team to say, how does this fit into your view of your life? And people bring that to the work. And that's, work-life balance, paying people fair wages as much as we can, although it's never enough. And on some of the things, again, that don't come with some of the educational backgrounds that we've seen, like presentation skills or writing, things that will help people advance in whatever they do. We have so much testimonial from families in so many languages that I can't make a slide on it for you, but I'll just say that some of the highlights are always to hear about a parent who feels more confident talking to a provider who didn't know what questions to ask before working with a community health worker. Or, getting over the fact that these aren't the bad steroids, and why, it might not seem like it makes sense to take a controller med every day, but how that's a lot less toxicity for the child than relying on albuterol or quick relief. Finding me a lawyer, very concrete things, talking about nutrition, talking about fitness, how nobody ever has to sit out. I'm sorry, I know I went over, but I had to.